Hey, everybody, it's Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Welcome to the Giant Bombcast REVENGEANCE, powered by NZXT. I'm your host, Jan Ochoa, joined by skipper of this dang ship, Turbo Sean McDowell.
Jan, it's the Sean and Jan show, the Jan and Sean show. I don't know who gets front billing here, but I'm very excited to do a one-on-one.
We can't have an ampersand is the thing.
We can't have an ampersand, as I just learned. Yeah, trying to get this show going here. Oh, man.
Everyone else is out on assignment. Jeff Grubb enjoying a well-deserved day off. And how else is he going to spend the day off other than hang out with Mikey and Dan Reichert? It's
yes, the most calm vacation a person can take is hanging out with those two, right?
Sean, we're going to get you out to an event one of these days because you need to witness someday. I swear it. Janifesting works, everyone. As well as janceling people.
Oh God, I thought it was a myth.
Hey, there's certain people we don't hear from anymore, huh?
Oh yeah, y'all wonder where they went.
And there is a certain childlike glee and energy that pops up whenever the three of those dudes are around each other.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because, I mean, Grubb and Mike have known each other a long time.
Yes.
If people didn't know, like, going back to, like, early-ish internet days, like, you know, like the 2000s, that's how long they've known each other, and then they started working together in the 2010s for, like, the precursor to GamesBeat, and then they worked together at GamesBeat forever now, and now they work together on personal stuff and here at Giant Bomb.
Yeah, it's I admire it, and the thing is with Dan is such a friendly, amicable guy with any and everyone he meets. Like, just picks it up immediately. Good to chat, good to gab with for forever. Yeah, that's right. I janceled Shitley. That's right.
Banished to the Shadow Realm.
Banished to the Shadow Realm until I panically need her for a miscellaneous stream. But anyway, Sean, it was not funny that Grubb took today off because there was some breaking news as soon as I woke up. Unfortunately, and I feel really terrible for the homies across the industry because GameStop has decided to completely shut down Game Informer as an entity. So that is the web operations, the videos, the website, as well as the print magazine. And I feel really terrible about this because not only, do I have friends that work at Game Informer, and there have been some very awesome people in my life. Dan Reichert, for example, and Jason A. Striker.
Yeah, we're kind of linked to Game Informer intrinsically. And, I've seen all this news, like, sort of initially filtered through our boy Alex Van Aken over there, and, like, saying, like, this is how shit's going down. And it's wild. Like, just seeing them, like, pull the rug out from under them.
Yeah.
Seeing them talk about how they're just, like, locked out of the site in seemingly every way now. It's just like, nope, pack it up. Y'all are out of here.
I know.
That's so fucked up.
And, this week hasn't been especially kind to the industry as a whole. No. We had the Bungie layoffs earlier this week. And it's especially sore, Sean, whenever I see it in games media, because I feel like, for folks that don't know, we don't hate each other. Most of us are acquaintances, if not friends, if not good friends with each other. And we want to see each other succeed because, I believe in diversity in all definitions of the word, but especially when it comes to points of view. And, games media pushes the industry forward in a way where, there's a space to be critical and to like call people out or bad people out. Like if there was no Grubbs of the world, would we have a Nintendo jail? But would we properly be calling out the people that should be called out? And also, like, people like different things. Sean, you and I may have very similar tastes, but, like, our tastes wildly vary than someone like Dan. You know, Dan is more of a dewy type of gamer and not a very talky type of gamer. Like you and I will sit through the cutscenes, sit through the visual novels. But like that is, we need both of those perspectives, right? And we need more than both of those perspectives to like really figure out the landscape of video games. And it stinks. It stinks.
Yeah, it's something that maybe people are tired of hearing from me, but it's why I always do try to, sort of see the perspectives of our people when they are talking about a game, and why I do my, I try not to make a big deal of it, because if a game sucks, like, and everybody knows it, like, hey, we have a show for that. Like we know when something's like really bad. But the reason that internet discourse nowadays is just like, oh, something's less than an 8 out of 10, it's the worst thing on earth. It's like, no, something can just not be for you. It's okay to just like not like something and not be awful, and have, like you said, with having different points of view and having people from all across the world working on these different sites, working for these different outlets, having their point of view, bringing that to the table, and being able to say, like, I am an RPG person, I am a visual novel person, but also I am a live service person, I am a mobile game person. Like, that's all really cool. And it feels like that's just shrinking and shrinking as these companies who don't know how to manage really talented teams keep just downsizing and trying to cut corners, cut costs. And seemingly from what people are figuring out about some of this, maybe some AI, glints in executives' eyes and all of this. And it's just really messed up that people's lives are being affected by this. It's incredibly messed up.
Yeah, the especially damning part, bring up AI, is that apparently the farewell letter that was tweeted out from the Game Informer account has since been found out to have used ChatGPT or some other AI assisted.
Yeah, I think that's software. Like, an allegedly situation, but it looks like, just from the structure, that first of all, we know no one on staff wrote it, so where did it come from? And it seems like they probably just AI generated it.
Not definitively true, allegedly we'll sprinkle those in.
Yes, but still, either way, the fact that, like, like you can't even get one of the staff members to like say it for you. It's just like saying F off and see you later.
And like there's a lot of like words being thrown around about like the rug pulled under them, and it does feel like it, which is especially upsetting because Game Informer had that like massive membership relaunch dealio earlier. Was it this year, Sean?
It was like months ago. I remember Grubb had, I think he had Marcus Stewart on GMM. By the way, also, I have had the pleasure of working with Marcus. He was on an episode of Jeopardy a while back. Great guy. He had him on talking about that and everything. And it seemed like they were like really optimistic about the future of Game Informer. And like they were like, we're being a little more independent in all this. We're going to have a little more control. Obviously, we're still under the parent company, but it's, like having a little more say there. And they seemed happy. And that's... I'm probably going to keep repeating myself here, but it's messed up. It's fucked up. I hate to see it.
Yeah, and when I think about like Game Informer as like an entity, it just felt like a pillar in this like games media landscape, which is quickly shrinking. And I can't help but feel, I guess, levels of like survivor's guilt, but also just like fear, of how things are over here. Because like you never know. Present company being excluded, someone else can swoop in, because that's always a possibility, especially with like how some companies have been run, right?
Yeah.
Sean, I especially wanted to get your view on this because you're only a couple years younger than me. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious to see or hear about how print media with games was for you. Because for me personally, and we were chatting about this prior to the show starting, I think we have similar backgrounds where like money was a little bit tight. So video game magazines were kind of like exploratory, kind of like an escape to experience as much of video games as we could, because we couldn't play them or rent them or buy any of the games.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. To say it was tight is an understatement for me. It was very much. I was the kid who, and I know other people have done this. Even Grub, we've talked about it a little bit. Like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I did that back in the '90s too, with like Nintendo Power and stuff. But like, s- popping your ass down in front of the magazine rack while your parents are doing shopping at the grocery store to
Oh,
like
dude.
read a little bit of the
Yeah.
magazine because they weren't it wasn't in the budget to buy that $5 magazine even that week, but if you could read it for a little bit while everyone's doing shopping. And then eventually I did get a subscription or two here and there. Nintendo Power had a deal where it was like $20 a year. That was easy to like sell with my mom. But gaming magazines were how I experienced video games for
Yeah.
a large portion of my life. I was thankful that I received a Game Boy Advance from my grandparents a few years after it came out for Christmas one year, and that was my entry into owning video games. But even then, it was a basically birthday and Christmas kind of thing for actually
Sure.
buying it. Like, we can buy you the new Pokemon for Christmas, and that's it. That's what we can afford for like the year. And if I could find some spare change, maybe I could get something from the used game store. But yeah, reading Nintendo Power, EGM, and Game Informer, all these different magazines are how I took in gaming news. And you can just imagining them and just like I would go to the demo station and
Yeah.
Walmart or whatever. That was like the arcade for me, for my generation, was going to those freaking kiosks with my friends. And then we would like read a magazine, pick them up, bring those home, whatever we could do where we could do so. So seeing sort of the last team carrying the torch for that era of games media, it, seeing them go away is just like, it's really sad. And it's impressive that they managed to keep it going for this long,
Yeah. 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 Very, very similar story, Sean. My mom's favorite joke when she would go shopping is that she would drop me off to the babysitter, and the babysitter would be the video game magazine rack at the Barnes and Noble nearby. And can't tell you the number of times I'd like fawn over a game or like flip through pages and then like look at the next magazine. It'd always be a rotation of like OPM for me, official PlayStation magazine.
Yes.
Game Informer and EGM and Game Pro as well.
Yeah.
I think there were like a couple other ones that like didn't last too long, unfortunately.
May have read some tips and tricks, may have brought the notebook with me while I was reading tips and tricks, Yeah.
Game Fan and Game Now. One of those would have an annual or at least seasonal video game female character swimsuit issue.
Yes.
Kind of riffing off of the Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, my mom would try her darndest to buy me magazines. But what she would do is she'd quickly flip through them. I got in trouble for even trying to bring that up to buy. And
of course you did. You weren't going to get that one. You weren't going to sneak that into the cart.
She just looks at me.
Respect for trying.
Yeah. The justification that would get my mom to sometimes buy me in OPM was because of the demo discs. As we know, we've seen on Demo Derby, most, if not all, magazine issues came with a demo disc, and those were my bread and butter, Sean. Like those, like powered me through in between like birthdays and other holidays where like family would give me some type of money. It'd be glorious in between Blockbuster rentals.
Oh yeah, definitely same here. Because like it was wild that you would get with just like a $6 magazine. I think they were usually a little bit higher than that in official Xbox magazine. But just the fact that you would get a disc that you could pop in, you get the magazine. The magazine was good, and then you would get a disc that you could pop in and play all these games. Where like eventually, because I had to like hop from system to system. So, it's like, oh, you want the GameCube? We can't buy a GameCube outright, even if it's used, $30-$40. But if you trade in the Game Boy, you get the GameCube. So that's how I've played basically every system ever, is by, just trading it in and then plus $10 or whatever and swapping system to system. And PS2 was one that I had for longer than probably any other, because I would get those demo discs. I played PS1 games, PS1 demo discs, and all that stuff. And, go to a library, rent all that stuff too. Yeah, man.
One of the things I definitely worry about with Game Informer closing is like, those deeper interviews and just like general game discovery, because Sean, as we both know, wading through the trenches of Steam is a gargantuan task when you're trying to find something new, find like the next big thing. And Twitter has been on fire for what feels like years now, that like finding a new game on Twitter that isn't just like a fake ad for a fake game feels especially hard. And I know that like, TikTok helps with discoverability. Twitch definitely helps with discoverability, but like having that, like, I don't know. I think if I was a game dev, curation. Yes.
Like, it's the same thing with the 360 store shutting down.
Yes.
Everyone's talking about like Xbox Live Arcade. XBLA was awesome because you had these handpicked games that they were like, we know these are good, and they may not be what you would normally play, but give them a chance, give them a try.
Yeah, and I think I'm definitely going to miss that, and I hope that there's still some space for that. I know that there's like there are websites doing their darndest, like indie websites out there, smaller sites, doing hours and hours of unpaid work to try and inform the masses and help game devs, game publishers, and all that jazz. But yeah, I would like for our peers or acquaintances and our friends to not be in jeopardy all the time. Sean.
Not to keep getting depressing with it, but it is wild to think of how many of my games media friends and acquaintances that I made in the past year and a half or so now are not games media people anymore because their job went up in a puff of smoke and they haven't been able to find new work or made their freelancing here and there. And it's just, I get what you mean, a little bit of the survivor's guilt a little bit, and just feeling like there should be room for everybody in all of this, and 100%. The fact that executives have decided that there isn't, it sucks.
Yeah. Rough week across the board on both sides of the fence, and frankly at this point I think we should just tear the fence down and use them to form picket signs against the powers that be above us all.
I will say shout outs to the people who are making it work independently. Like I look all the time at MinMax and what they're doing, and like I think Hanson was smart with that. Obviously kind of funny way before them, like basically setting the template for the rest of us, where if you want to seek out independent, if you want to venture out on your own, like that is the way to do it. You start up your Patreon, you get your name out there, like you push your name if you already have one, and just try to get everyone on board. And I really appreciate seeing those people move on to that kind of thing, and see that their place in the industry is sort of being continued just in a different way. And obviously Nextlander, as Chaz pointed out, just as seeing the homies like go on to their next thing and have it be successful. Obviously not everyone can do that, but maybe more people start doing that, and I hope that they can find success in that too, because it seems like corporate games media is a dangerous thing right now all across the board. So
tenuous.
At best,
tenuous.
Wish the best for them, obviously,
and not to glaze our dear coworkers too much, but like I definitely appreciate the hustle and the grind that like Grub and Minotti have had over the years, especially with like their own independent stuff that you were intimately tied with, Sean.
Yes, that now I'm just over there working with them on a whole bunch of stuff, and let me tell you, as someone who literally works with them nearly every day, and Jeff really is one of the hardest working people I've ever seen. Full-time dad, full-time employee, just making everything work. And it's wild. It's a grind. It's a hustle. But just the fact that, we can have smaller things like that, or bigger things like, the kind of funnies and the min-maxes is really cool.
Yeah. And folks, don't worry. We will try our darndest to have some, if not as many of the folks that were affected by the Game Informer layoffs, if not several Game Informer alumni on a Bombcast coming up, just wax poetically about the good times or what the future holds for them. Till then, again, I am sending the best of vibes. All of us here are sending the best of vibes to our comrades of Game Informer, because dang, Jesus Christ, GameStop fucking sucks. They just sell Funko Pops now, Sean. I don't know if you've been to one recently.
Yeah. Crazy how GameStop went from being dunking on the 360 store closing, saying, "Oh, bet you wish you bought physical games now." Which, by the way, tone deaf because you can still re-download your games. But second of all, the fact that GameStop would try to dunk on anybody is hilarious. And now it's led us to this, where they don't, as a company, give a shit about human lives.
I think what would be a fun BCR perhaps next week would be best Game Informer magazine covers.
Oh yes, because that's like what they've been known for.
Yeah,
There a lot of magazines had really good Nintendo Power eventually moved towards that, like just the logo and the art, and eventually it was just the art for subscribers. And then Game Informer has been really good about that too, especially like with the sort of revival we were talking about, emphasizing that they've had such incredible art.
Yeah, not necessarily the actual cover story itself, but the cover of the magazine.
Yes, just what you see, what draws your attention when you go buy that on a store shelf or now digital storefront,
God, because Sean, I've got to imagine that even like our more casual gaming friends have an issue, at least one issue of Game Informer.
Oh yeah, floating around somewhere. Yeah, like I was looking at my stack over there because I pull those out sometimes when I want to show them off on the show, and I couldn't find any of the Game Informers. I know they're floating around in a box somewhere because I have boxes of my old magazines somewhere. I'll see if I can find them. Hopefully they didn't get lost in a move like when I was at college or whatever.
Oh, no.
But we'll see what happens because I definitely treasure some of those old memories.
All right, Sean. So actually, do you have any games that you would like to talk about?
I do. You know what? I can like go bullet point here because mostly what I've been playing is I've been getting caught up on Final Fantasy 14 because Dawn Trail is out. Everyone's been talking about it. Speaking of Game for homies, all the nasty boys are talking about Dawn Trail, and I can't get off my feet. So I'm like, I need to get caught up on this. Mike won't shut up, bud, either. So I'm still an Endwalker though. I'm quite a ways away from it, but hey,
further than I am, bud.
That's true. Jan, it's so good. It's so good. And I can't emphasize this enough because I see people misunderstand. You can play Final Fantasy 14 as a single player Final Fantasy. That's how I've done it. I've literally never done a raid outside of just, the story mode stuff. So you can absolutely just play as an RPG. I highly recommend it. So I've been getting caught up on that. It's sort of a game I associate with the summer. So this usually is when I do my catch up. I don't play it throughout the year and everything. I've been playing more the Marvel Rivals alpha, beta, whatever they're calling it.
Surprising, actually.
I mean, I'm an Overwatch guy, used to be at least, and so now here with like I was mentioning on the Bombcast, I think being able to say this is just the good Overwatch that I can now present to my friends when it comes out and say, hey, remember the good old times? And I keep coming back to it because I found my main in Rocket. I like being the healer who can also deal damage. And I've been winning left and right, helping my team. So it's just fun. It's a good time.
I've yet to check out the beta. Maybe I can convince y'all to play with me.
That's right. You didn't play with us.
They dragged me to Comic-Con, Sean. And locked me in a room.
I'm trying to think of when it ends. It might be like Monday. Maybe it doesn't work out. But yeah, we were talking about like getting you in for a few games. So if we can, that would be really sick. I did want to surprise you with one though, Jan. I've been holding off on this until literally this moment where I was like, okay, if there's like a moment where me and Jan need to talk about something, I'm going to drop this on him. He's not going to see it coming. It's going to be great.
Oh no.
So another bit of unfortunate news is that romhacking.net is also closing down.
I saw you posting about this. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fan translations and fan tweaks. Like you see sometimes like colorizations of Game Boy games into DX games. That's where a lot of that stuff has been posted. And so that's closing down for personal reasons related to the owner. But something that I started earlier in the summer, I haven't finished, but I started because of the fan translation. I don't think it's actually hosted on ROM hacking. I think it was hosted elsewhere, but sort of, all in this vein here. Jan, have you ever heard of Rockman EXE, Phantom of Network, and Legend of Network?
No.
I thought so. These are Mega Man Battle Network games Jan has not heard of because they were made for mobile phones, just like old school dumb phone feature phones in Japan in the mid 2000s. This is a incredible preservation project that's been happening where people are trying to get like feature phones. Like we had bad cell phones in the 2000s here in the
Yes.
US.
That's an
Like
understatement, Sean.
yeah, like Nokias that could run Snake for the most part. They had like simple 3D games on their phones over in Japan. Like there's like a Mega Man Legends sequel that is only on phones and stuff like this. So a lot of these games are getting preserved, and they have managed to preserve Phantom of Network and its sequel Legend of Network, which are games that continue the Battle Network story. They like take place between what's like 3 and 4 and then 5 and 6 or something like that.
Whoa.
And they are just Battle Network games, but you know, we never got to play them. And so they've been preserved from those old phones because they've managed to find people who still had them sitting around in a drawer, you know, on one of those old crappy phones, and fan translated them as well. So I've been playing those a little bit. I played them a little bit earlier in the summer, and then I've been coming back to them here and there. I found out a way to get you need to use a Java emulator, Jan, to run these things because that's what those phones ran. I've been playing them on my Steam Deck because there's like a whole guide of how to get the emulator on your Steam Deck, map the buttons and everything. So it's impressive because, you know, like these phones could do GBA style games. And it is, like the animations aren't quite there and everything like that. They're a little simpler, but it's just Battle Network.
Yeah, I'm looking at a video now of what I assume maybe is just someone recording off of their phone. And the hub world, or at least navigating the map, is more isometric than to an angle than it normally is in the
so
games?
the LAN segments, it's sort of like the switch from like Persona 3 to Persona 3 Portable, where, you know, the like daytime overworld segments have been simplified to a menu, but then when you're in the dungeony area, so like for these games, the cyber world is Mega Man, you're just running around as Mega Man like you would in the GBA games. Graphics, again, slightly simpler, but you get into the battles and it's just Battle Network battles. And it's been, these projects are really cool. And why, you know, again, shouts to romhacking.net. A little sad to see that one go. The, you know, modders and everything will move on to something else eventually. But so sad to see that Psycho. But seeing stuff like this and that, man, I love revisiting these old games that we never got through fan translations. It's so cool.
God, I had no idea this existed. This is so freaking cool, dude.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I actually don't mind the land sequences just being relegated to a menu because...
Right. And that's like where if you need to cut corners to fit it down to like, you know, a Java phone download in the 2000s, that's where you like cut it down, right?
Yeah, some of those later games had a little bit too much walking around as LAN for my taste.
You remember, like, if you didn't know where to go, you would eventually just start running around spamming the R button to try to jack in.
Yeah. Just like, I'm just going to try and jack in everywhere. Just let me jack in already, please.
Oh, all right.
I'm calmly asking, please, is what it is. I'm not demanding anything.
Of course, respectfully.
God. Sean, did you ever get into the Mega Man Battle Network competitive scene that was kind of like homebrewed?
No, and it's because I watched a match and I'm like, I know what all these things do. I don't know if I have the execution to do them.
Yeah.
Like you see a competitive Battle Network match because they still like doing that in Japan, and now with like homebrew netcode, they have like GGPO basically put into some of these emulators so you can do online matches with the old games emulated. And chat, if you know Battle Network at all, you know it's like a card-based action RPG where you're like tossing attacks back and forth.
Yeah.
But just to see like constantly they do, you know, moves instantaneously because they just like, it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, I think people are emulating. It's either Battle Network. I want to say it's 5 specifically.
They do 6. They do 6. Yeah, because they see it as like the most balanced.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching competitive Battle Network is exactly as Sean says. It's kind of when you go from like hobbyist to watching professionals play and like, okay, I'm just gonna continue sitting over there. It's
like if you don't understand Marvel versus Capcom, or you like remember when you first started understanding Marvel versus Capcom at a high level, seeing all the flashy crap happen on screen, you're like, what is going on here? like you may even know what the moves are doing, but you don't understand how they ended up doing them. Yeah, it's crazy stuff to see those people in action.
It's a little bit complicado to set up if you are not well versed with going into your router and figuring out your IP and all that jazz. But if that's something you want to partake in, they have a very active and very helpful Discord community. I forget the specific Discord, but
I think because the Legacy collection does have online, I believe you can get matches with people in 6 online. Like I think specifically, it's either Switch or PC, I believe, where like they have a small community, or like everyone who wants to do that already owns it, so you can like ask them if they want to do it on there instead or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I'll dig this. Sean, what about we take a quick break and then we're just going to recap everything that's going on in the Giant Bomb Fantasy Critic League.
Sounds good to me.
All right, fade into black. Wow, what a restful break that was, Sean. I feel like a brand new person. Oh my gosh. I
can't believe we took a 48-hour break, Jan.
Wow. I know. This is what happens when they just let the producers do whatever, because it's like, well, we press all the buttons on the website.
Did you see that tweet from Mike last night where he's like, I'm playing Dark Souls until Game Mess mornings? He meant to say Game Mess decides, and he named the wrong show that also wasn't happening today. So Jeff was like, boy, you got a long stream coming, buddy.
Very, very long stream.
Yeah.
So we did a stream where we did a Serpentine draft. Sean, you are the league manager here.
Yes.
For Giant Bomb, using Fantasy Critic. For folks that are semi-familiar with fantasy football, this follows a similar thing, except instead of drafting players, we are drafting releases that are coming out this year prior to them coming out. And then the score that we receive is based off of how they review out in the world.
Yes, on OpenCritic specifically. Now we move to, I believe they use OpenCritic over there, yeah.
So pretty much everyone on the GB staff is competing. We have Grub, Mike, Dan, Tam, Turbo Sean, myself, Bacalar, Nikki, and Lucy. So there are 9 spots. I want to say 9 spots.
Yes.
I listed 9 people, so that means there's 9 spots. And you've definitely heard us talk about the Fantasy Critic since we've drafted on various Giant Bomb programming. And I kind of just wanted to give folks an update on what the standings are and refresh everyone's memory as to what games everyone has claimed.
Right. Because you keep hearing, we'll say it in passing, like Backlar will be like, I can't believe you grabbed that game. Like, I wanted to get that for my team. Yeah.
I'm guilty of this because I keep losing some bids and not staying on top of them. But a couple of us have a full 10 now, if I am looking at this right.
Yeah, is it just Mike or does Grub?
Mike, Dan, and Grub all have a full roster of games.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so we'll start with the current standings, and this is still projected as of right now. 9th place, we have Lucy James Games. 8th,
who has negative points, I would like to point out.
Oh, yes, actually. I just saw that part.
But let's see the difference between, Lucy's in 9th with negative 3.6 points. And who's next up?
In 8th place, we have Nikki with 32.93 points.
Bit of a delta there.
Yeah, yeah. That's like the opposite of a bell curve. And then in 7th place, we have Jeff Bacalar, 38.1 points.
What was the name of each of these leagues, by the way? We have Lucy James, Games with Lucy James publishes games, Nikki's Good Video Games, TM, and then Jerf's Important Collective.
And then 6th place, we have... Okay, this is... whatever. 6th place, we have myself with Cut the Check Games, 38.42. Sean, you are in 5th place, but projected 3rd. Mm-hmm. I'll just look at the actual points here.
I'm sorry. Was my publisher name?
Lucky Low Punny Feet Incorporated.
I just really want to flip you saying that. Thank you, Jan.
No problem, bud. In 4th place, we with 43.46 points, we have Tam with Grow Up.
Tam surpassed me recently, or this happened a while ago?
Tam hasn't drafted anything, so I think that your
he's coasting
here,
on Tekken 8 and Helldivers too. Okay, yeah. I see.
I think Tam's going with the I'm not going to check this model and let everyone else fumble the bag.
Well, for a couple of people, that might be working.
And then in third, we have Reichert's Market, 48.3 points. In second place, Mike Minotti with Critical Path Publishing. And currently in first, Jeff Grubb with Grub One Out Games, 62.03 points.
So as you can see, Grub, Mike, and Dan are definitely the ones who are really competing here. For the record, I'm in the middle of the pack. I'm trying. They keep outbidding me. Someone somewhere always outbids me, and that's how me, Grub, and Mike have been doing Fantasy Critic for a few years now with our personal community, and so. This is what always happens to me. I'm like, I'm gonna put a good, healthy bid on it because we have $100 to spend as we choose to draft games throughout the year for our team. To get more points. And I'm like, $30, even $40 for these big games. That'll be enough. But no, y'all wild. Y'all putting like Dan put $70 on a game one time. I think, for Astrobot, he like bet almost everything on Astrobot, which that's gonna pay off.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
But it's wild out here. I can't compete.
I'm especially mad at Jeff Bacalar because I put a smooth $51 on Thank Goodness You're Here, thinking like no one's gonna outbid me here.
Yep. I think I put 40 on that one.
And then this guy sneaks in like that. How much did he spend?
Jan, I know no one else on the team is listening to this, so between you and me, you always gotta do one over what you want to do. Like, so you want to do $50, you need to do 51 because someone else is also gonna think $50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shall we go through the games that everyone has?
Sure. Yeah.
Some of these have yet to come out. So be forewarned. So there is still potential for points. I'll read Tam's if you want to grab Dan's, Sean.
Okay, sure. We can like alternate.
Yeah, we'll alternate. For Grow Up Games, so far the games that have released and have reviews are Tekken 8, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons (remake), and Helldivers 2. Very good pickup, Sean. Tam is still waiting on Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, and Dragon Ball Zero Sparking Zero, with a counter pick against you.
Yes.
Fire Emblem: Genealogy of the Holy War remake (unannounced).
Yes, because everything we heard was that game is coming out this year, and I would like to point out, based on the way things are going and the Nintendo announcements we've had so far, I've actually dropped that game because I am no longer confident it's coming out. So,
you think?
But the way it works with the counter picks is though that Tam still gets the counter picks. So if anyone doesn't know what the counter picks are, you missed our explanation on the initial episode. Obviously the picks, that should be self-explanatory. You need to pick the games that score the best to get the most points on the grading system. Counter picking is something that they do to like balance it out, where you need to really think about which games will underperform. So games that will get 70 point or under 70 points on Open Critic. And so you can also counter pick something that you don't think will release. And so Tam was like, this game doesn't exist. I'm counter picking this. This is not coming out. And so that's why he picked that one. And if it does not release, he doesn't get points because it's not underperforming, but he will break even. He will get 0 points. So he won't be gaining any. He also won't be losing any. Next up here is Dan. He currently has Dan's lineup is nuts. He might win this whole thing.
Yeah.
He has Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which netted him because if you score above 90, you get bonus points. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth 93 on Open Critic has him with 25 points off of that one game alone. Strong start. He also has Princess Peach Showtime, a few points there, and the Thousand Year Door remake also got him a decent amount. But then he also has a good lineup in, well, first of all, Earthblade probably not coming out, so maybe not a great pick there. But Frostpunk 2, got Astrobot, which is gonna pop off. Rift of the Necro Dancer. He just barely beat me on this one because this is free points, maybe not ton points, but free points. He got Black Ops 6. He got UFO 50, and the game that he doesn't even know exists, Anton Blast, which is that Wario land. Like that's gonna give him some points too. And then he counterpicked Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, not because he thought it would do poorly, but because he was like, that's not coming out this year. And he's right, so he's breaking even on that one for his counterpick.
I think Dan may be able to like run away with it depending on because of not only Astrobot and Black Ops 6, Frostpunk.
Yeah. Okay. You think that's going to be like Grub says selection bias? You think people who want to review that game will review it and they will think it's very good?
100%. 100%.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'll get the next two, Sean, since the second one is my own list.
Sure.
Jeff Bacalar with Important Collective. Jeff doing pretty well with the games that he has that are out. He has Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Ultros, Harold Halibut, and Thank Goodness You're Here. With Thank Goodness You're Here being the highest scoring, critic scoring for Jeff.
Oh, that only sold around 86. Okay, I don't feel as bad, but still, that's 16 points. Yeah. So good amount of points there.
Rounding out Bacalar's roster is Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl.
Ooh.
That one...
Risky pick there.
I feel like that would have been a good counter pick. Looking at it now. Baby Steps, which I'm not 100% sure is going to come out this year.
Same.
And then Black Myth Wukong.
And that one's probably going to do okay as well.
Yeah, I think the selection bias, like we just mentioned, might factor in there. Or it might factor against it. Like, super fans may be like, this is poo-poo. And then Jerf's counter pick is against me with Silent Hill 2 Remake.
Oh.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah, because we don't know for sure when that game's coming out, right?
Yeah, I mean, we keep, like, I gotta imagine we're gonna see more of it soon.
Right.
But who
I don't
knows?
know, though. Yeah, not feeling great about that one.
I'm not feeling great with some of my picks, looking at them now. With Cut the Check Games, we have myself. A bunch of my picks have been out. Leading the pack is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Loser of the pack, though, is Skull and Bones. Netted me negative 10 points.
Scored 59, so he got negative 10. But important to note that Infinite Wealth did break into 90, so he did get bonus points there. You didn't quite get bonus points there, but he got 20 points, which is very good.
I also have Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which I do want to circle back and check out with you, Sean.
Yeah, we keep like mentioning in passing. We really should. I keep hearing good things about it. Even like people circling back saying, "Hey, don't sleep on this one." So maybe we do this for a random stream one day or something.
Yeah. And then I have Stellar Blade and Tales of Kenzara Zao. I thought Tales of Kenzara Zao would be better received.
We were talking about this last night, actually, Migra and Mike. We thought because it came out too close to Prince of Persia, it may be like painted in a slightly negative light.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Like that makes sense, unfortunately. And then my two games that have yet to be released: Silent Hill 2 Remake. Based off the trailers, I still don't know how to feel, Sean. And then Visions of Mana. And then my counter pick is against Lucy James with Hollow Knight Silksong.
Which that was maybe risky pick. That's like when I counter picked Tears of the Kingdom the other year, where I was like, look, if this comes out as planned, I am screwed, but I'm really confident this is getting pushed. And so with Silksong, early in the year, it could have gone either way, but it really seems like that one's not coming out, so you're probably safe there.
When is the other possibility of it shadow dropping at a big thing? Like, there's probably just two more instances, right? Like,
I mean, it could be as late as the Game Awards, honestly.
Yeah, that's when does this Fantasy Critic cut off? Like, is it
I
end
believe
of
it runs until the end of the calendar year.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I can take the next two here then, since you did too. So I am, of course, the manager of Lucky Loppany Feet Inc. And leading the pack here, the herd, the other metaphor for animals. We have Unicorn Overlord is my definitely my ace in the hole right now. That got 88 points, so 88 as a score, so I got 18 points. My other releases so far, though, not as great. Penny's Big Breakaway, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, and Zenless Zone Zero all scored in the 70s. So I got some points on the board from each, but not nearly as many as I wanted. And then, yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead. That's wild for Penny's Big Breakaway. Surprised.
Yeah, I think that one was just, it wasn't quite, I like it. It's not quite what people want, though, because they were expecting just Sonic Adventure, and it is much different than that. They really made a new thing with it. I think it just didn't gel with a lot of people.
Sure.
And then the other like release that I have is actually my counter pick of Lucy James with Foam Stars. That's why she has negative points. Foam Stars scored 60. So since it was 10 under the 70-point threshold, I got 10 points off of that one. Okay. So I'm not, doing great for points right now, but I got bangers still coming out. I did manage to get Metaphor ReFantasio. That's points, dude.
Yeah, that's points. That's points.
Yeah. I also got Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. That's points right there, I tell you what. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
That's points.
Minimum in the 80s, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I think this will just be solid points. Lego Horizon Adventures.
Yeah.
And I also got my other counter pick because I would like to remind you and everyone else, y'all need to get your second counter pick sometime in the next month, or you will lose points. And my second counter pick is the next Mario Kart, which there's no way. No way.
No possible way. This year, no.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, so it's like I'm trying to like remember who the hell even. Okay, we'll get to that list later. Okay. I'm doing okay right now, and I think I might be picking up a lot of steam here in the next couple of months.
Sean, you got 2 empty spots here. You have anything you're eyeing or thinking about?
I was eyeing a game that Grub stole from me, and then I was eyeing Thank Goodness You're Here, and I was like, okay, those will be the 2, and I didn't get either one, so I still got some space on my team, which means I do still have money to work with, so maybe I do end up picking those up, and maybe something will get shadow dropped or like, shadow announced or something, so we could still bid on it before it releases. Okay. That would be really good. And then Mikey, his Critical Path Publishing. So he has 2 really strong picks in Persona 3 Reload, which got him 18 points, and Braid Anniversary Edition, which got him 19 points. He also has points on the board from Aiden Chronicle, 100 Heroes. That one kind of flopped a little bit, so only a few points. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Rumble, same thing. And then SteamWorld Heist 2 is... just released, so that's one that is settling, but he'll get around 12 points for that one. And then he also counterpicked Skull and Bones, which did not do well. So that scored 59. So because of rounding, I guess he got 10 points off of that. Maybe you only get a max of 10 off counterpicks. I actually don't know. Yet to be released, he has Star Wars Outlaws, which I remember that, and Avowed, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, all good picks. He spent all of his money on those games, basically.
Oh, man.
Avowed's not looking great right now.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, we'll see what happens there. And then Star Wars Outlaws, seeming like solid, but maybe iffy. So we'll see how those work out for him. But he also has Mina the Howler, the Plucky Squire, and that would be it, rounding out his team. So Mike has a lot of points on the board. His yet-to-be-released games. We'll see if they even come out this year. I don't know. But he also managed to get a new 3D Mario game as his counter pick. That's very safe, so he'll probably be okay, breaking even on that one, because that's probably not going to release.
All right, final 3 here of the Giant Bomb Fantasy Critic. I'll take Grub's. With Grub One Out Games, Grub is on the board. Hits Heater, which I can't freaking believe he got for, I think, $1.
I hate that we all forgot about this game while it was eligible.
Yes. With the heist of the century, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Grubb has picked Balatro. 91 points, getting him, or 91 critic score ranking, giving him 23 points. Additionally, Grubb has
got that for $1. Got that for $1. He just snuck it in there.
Grubb also grabbed Dragon's Dogma 2, which had a lot of steam at the beginning of this year, as well as Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, and I'm not familiar with this one, Sean. Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden?
I am not familiar with this either, actually.
I don't know why this feels like it is a... No, I'm looking at the box art now. Still don't know what this is.
Oh, I've seen this in the event, but yeah, I didn't realize this released. Okay,
dang.
sure.
All right, and then Sean, Grub's games that have yet to release, so there's no reviews just yet. Metal Slug Tactics, solid pickup.
Yes.
Mario and Luigi Brothership. No,
that's the one he beat me out on by only like $5, which that would have been such a good addition to my team.
That's a strong pick. He also has Towerborn, which we'll see more of very, very soon. Skate Story, which I'm curious about. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
That's a Grub pick. He picked the original one, I believe, in the first year we did this, and it did very well for him because, people just... The selection bias, again, the people who want to love that game reviewed it and loved it, so I think he's going to get mad points off that one.
And then his last pick here, Dragon Age, The Veilguard. Oh, man.
We'll see what happens there.
We'll see what happens there. I think it may look good for Grub ultimately, but I don't want him to win.
He's leading right now in points, and he has solid releases upcoming, so we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. But we still have a couple big events coming out for the rest of the year, Sean. So you and I and some other folks, if they remember how to log in, have some time to gain some points. Do you want to take Lucy's?
Why don't you take Lucy's? I want to tackle the last one.
Oh, you want? Okay. All right. With Lucy James publishes games. Lucy only has 2 titles that have charted so far. One of those being, I should mention Grub's counterpick, Pal World.
Right, which we had to do some finagling to like even get that on the board because it's an early access game and everything. But yeah, it looks like just no points have been assigned as of yet. I might have to give him that 1 point he earned.
Lucy's games that have come out are Still Wakes the Deep, netting her 7 points.
Sure.
I'm surprised that I've heard positive buzz around that, but maybe not enough people have checked it out. And then this most surprising, Sean, giving Lucy negative 10 points is Foam Stars.
I remember when we were doing the draft and like I was holding it in because I was the only one who had played the beta. And then when she picked Foam Stars, I'm like, okay, cool. Nobody counterpicked this. This is free points for me. And when it came around to me, I was like, Lucy, I'm sorry you made a dumb move on this one.
Oh boy. Sorry to all the foamies out there. Lucy's counterpick is Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. I feel like that game might hit.
Oh no, Tam was absolutely right to clown on her for this one. When she picked that, he was just like, you fool. Because the Budokai people are gonna go nuts over that one. Sorry, Lucy.
Yeah, sorry, dog. The other Lucy's remaining titles that have yet to be released: Hollow Knight Silksong, which may never see the light of day. Rise of the Golden Idol.
That one will hit. That one will hit.
Good points. This Assassin's Creed Shadows, I feel like, is going to be an interesting title.
I feel like people are optimistic, so I think that's like a solid points. That'll probably be somewhere in the like 80 to 85 range. So I think that's just like free, modest amount of points.
And her last 2 titles are The Altars and Phoenix Springs.
Oh, Altars, Alters. That's the like clones on a spaceship game. Yeah. That's right.
A bunch of yawns, not Jans, yawns.
Yes.
Phoenix Springs. What is Phoenix Springs?
I actually don't know that one by name either.
Yeah, I also don't know this.
Springs game. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen this game before.
Okay.
It's a very artistic game to put it mildly.
One of those. Okay.
Yeah.
And rounding out the final member of the roster, Sean, if you would do the honors.
Good Video Games TM, and they have nothing but good games here. First of all, credit where credit's due. EA Sports College Football 25. Solid 12 points on the board because it scored 82. Kind of goes downhill from there. We got another Crab's Treasure netting 8 points. Rise of the Ronin netting 7. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake was 6. Oh boy. And then we have Pal World So that scores 71. So they would get 1 point. Grub would get negative 1 point. That's how that would work out. They picked the next Mario Kart for some reason. Nikki, I'm sorry, you're getting 0 points on that one. And then Pokemon Legends ZA, which this is wild because they didn't pick ZA, they picked Next Pokemon Legends, like as like a Hail Mary when we initially drafted. And they got the game because that got announced, but no points because it come out next year. And then their only counter pick is Earthblade, which that's probably a break even one.
Yeah,
because I don't see that one coming out this year. So not looking amazing for Nikki's team, but just some wild picks on there that I wanted to go over.
Yeah. Lots of shots in the dark.
Yeah. So which paid off a little bit, but some of which are not gonna pay off. Nick, you should log in and maybe do some cleanup.
Yeah. Lucy's in the negatives. Right.
Well, I want to keep bringing up, but yeah, Lucy's kind of fumbling a little bit.
Yeah. Nikki still has $98, so Nikki has some money to throw around.
Exactly. So they can turn this around. Definitely. We'll see what happens.
And folks, that does it for the recap on Fantasy Critic. If you want to have your own Fantasy Critic for video games, go make friends. I'm not going to set this up for you.
There's plenty of communities out there that are doing it. I believe there is a community-run Giant Bomb one that, obviously it's closed now because we're mid-year. But yeah, find whatever community you're in. They probably have one going on throughout the years. Like so many outlets do it nowadays because it's just fun. It's just dumb fun. I think like to just really think hard about these things and then try to like cheer on your favorite games throughout the year. Like it's cool.
I really enjoy it because even going through the unannounced or the games that have yet to come out and get scored, Sean, has got me excited for the rest of the year because I thought like, oh, we're done with games, right? We're done. We're cool. It's like no, there's still a bunch of games coming out.
Some solid games at that. Some of those are looking real good. So yeah, guys, still, man, it's freaking August. Like I can't believe there's. Oh, Jesus Christ, Jan. Years going by too fast.
I'm gonna
crumble
bid on some stuff right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I may have
I don't know if you can right now. I think its bidding closes Thursday night.
Oh, nuts. Well, processes in 1 day. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Maybe do that on like Monday or something.
All right. Note to myself, bid on the games. And remember the games.
Yes.
Folks, that about does it for Giant Bombcast Revengeance. Sean, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it is a pleasure, Jan. I hope that people enjoyed our little one-on-one convo here. I think we covered some good topics. Hopefully people had fun with the Fantasy Critic stuff, too. I think this was a good show.
It's a lovely little chat. Sometimes we got people talking over each other, goofing and gabbing. Sometimes you just need some yapping. Yeah.
We got to just hang out for once, this was nice.
So intimate,
people love the intimacy in the live chat. Exactly.
Yeah. Mike hasn't said a single word, and I'm offended. I hope he is okay.
It's a little rude.
It's a little rude. It's a little rude. Not gonna lie. Just hawking his Duck Dynasty around. Change one letter in there, it becomes a little HR nightmare.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll see you next week for another fun week of Giant Bomb programming. Folks, get ready, pack your bags. Some of us will be seeing you at PAX West. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure. And then more adventures to be seen. Just got to book some tickies and we'll be there. A group of us will be there. He's been Sean. I've been Jan. And you at home have been lovely. Go treat yourself to a good bucket of chicken today. And if you're vegetarian or vegan, buy a bucket of chicken for a friend. They'll appreciate it. They will fall in love with you.
Is that okay? Can vegetarians do that?
They can buy chicken.